Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a video that has been highly requested of me that is going to be X 6.46 easy path for completion and to revisit them with the current day champions. Now the defenders here are going to be with Phoenix and it's going to end with an Angela and there is a very flimsy Sentinel at the end of it. The path nodes are going to tenacity so the debuffs will be shocked off 75% faster and when the defender is stuck there is a chance that they'll get a Fury. Now, I would suggest you to load your team with all of your Mystic champions because they will get through this path fast because most of the defenders are cosmic and they have buffs on them. You can also bring in somebody like Tenacity counter, so you can bring in White Max for the pre-fights, Apocalypse, and also Bishop, and for Metal you can bring in Magneto. Also, I've given you some God tier options, they work really well here too. And for the mastery setup, nothing much. Just Mystic Dispersion will be helpful if you're going to use Mystic Champions. And very important for the Grandmaster, make sure that you bring in a reverse control counter that is going to be there for the phase 3 of the Grandmaster. As we are doing the easy path, the Grandmaster rule set would be opportunistic, so the wounded state length will be reduced by 30% and the infuriated state will be reduced by 50%. So I hope that is clear guys, and let's jump onto the path. Let's quickly run to it and get on to the Grandmaster. If you want to just look at the Grandmaster fight, check the description and on the comment section I've given you timestamps and that will help you out. But before we do guys, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel and leave a comment down below. All of that really helps me out a lot and helps me grow the channel. The first fight is going to be against a Phoenix. Now, just as a side note, I am using my very highly ranked champion 6-star rank 4 Doom and other are 6-star rank 3. But really for this part it doesn't really matter. I am just trying to use bigger champions so I can finish off this fight faster. So I can get into the Grandmaster fight and explain the mechanics of it. So even if you have a 6-star rank 2 or a 6-star rank 3, they work really well. Even 5-star rank 5s can also work. The beauty of the Grandmaster fight is that you don't need any specific champions. You can actually do the fight with any champion that you have. So again, simply Phoenix, don't push her to an SP2 and keep her to an SP1. Let her Phoenix charges die down and then you can easily kill her off. By this time the community is well aware about the mechanics of the Phoenix fight. So pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Only thing you need to take care about that she can shrug off your debuffs, and if you put any debuff because of tenacity, there's a 75% chance that the debuff will be taken away. So just be wary about that. For your stuns, you can always use White Max pre-fight ability, or you can bring in somebody like Apocalypse or somebody like Storm Pyramid X if you want to parry and have continued stuns. Next up is going to be a Heimdall. I'm gonna just use Black Widow Clairvoyant, just use 4 5-hit combos and switch to my Incinerate immunity where I can do a lot of damage to him with an SPT and just rinse and repeat that and get that damage onto him and kill him off. Again, not really a difficult fight, pretty straightforward. If you still want to parry, you can use Max pre-fight or you can use Apocalypse. They also work really well. But once you SP1 is very easy to evade for Heimdall. Just keep him to an SP1 and he will give you enough openings to go and attack and kill him off. And then you have a Groot. He gets a lot of buffs on himself, so Longshot is a really great option. But then again, you can use any Mystic champion because they are good against buffs. And if you're using Mystic Dispersion, you will get back power very quick. Just gonna use an SP2 here that will nullify everything on Groot and give him a lot of damage. So you can rinse and repeat that. You can finish this fight very quick. Keep him to an SP1. That would be much easier to evade, but SP2 is also not that bad. So pretty easy, straightforward fight. Moving on to the path. Next up is going to be an Annihilus. Now for him, you can use a white mag pre-fight that would easily able to stun him, and you don't have to worry about uh, all of these parries. He will give you armor breaks and going unstoppable. Also, an easier way is to use a Mystic champion that has easy access to Nullify. So you can use a Doom here, you can use a Black Widow Clairvoyant, or you can use champions that have easy access to passive stuns. So for example, you can use Storm Pyramid X. Also, you can use Magneto because Annihilus is a metal champion. Again, I did mess up this fight a bit. I did not have to like really use a max pre-fight, and also bring in Apocalypse. One of them would work, but then for the showcase I brought it in. So yeah, pretty straightforward. This fight might give you trouble, but I would suggest either bring a champion who has passive stuns or bring in a Mystic champion that can remove his Cosmic Rod, so then you can easily parry him with a backdraft intercept as well. That also works. So plenty of different options. Just make sure that you choose a that you take a pick that will take care of Annihilus during this fight. And then you have a Hela. Hela is also easy defender to deal with. There are two ways. You can either let her hit into your block and then you can go back and retaliate. If not, you can again use those champions that can have passive stun and easily kill her. I'm using a Doom here because every time you hit Hela and you take a percentage of her health, she gets physical resist. She gets physical resist buff on her, and because there's a stagger already, that buff is nullified and that gives her shock, and I could just keep her in the corner and doom slap her. And then when I have an SP3, I can just slowly get to an SP1 and then throw an SP2 and kill her off. So Doom did makes this fight super easy. Again, any champion can work. There are plenty of options. You can either go the nullify route, you can also go the Doom route, or you can either go the champions that are immune to purified route as well with passive stuns, or you can use a white max free fight and use any champion that you like. Now, Vision Arkus is going to be the second annoying fight for you on this path, so there are plenty of different ways to deal with him. First one is to either bring in a armor break immune champion, because if you don't have an armor break, you don't get any kind of cold snap on you. If not, then bring a champion that has easy access to nullify. If you can nullify his power gain buffs, there is no armor break on you, that means no cold snap. Or the third way is to bring a cold snap immune champion and you can take away all the utility from Vision Arcus. Doom is by far the best counter here, but I tried to use a different champion here, that is Black Widow Clairvoyant. Basically anybody with a stagger would work here. Colossus is also a good option. Also Human Torch is a good option. So there are plenty of different champions that you can use here. If you're using a Mystic champion, 200% Mystic boost would work. Otherwise, if you're not, if you're going to use a Colossus, I would highly suggest you to bring a pre-fight from white mags. That will work really well here as well. Again, you just be wary about the tenacity. If you're gonna play a no parry style, bring a champion that can sustain or have high block proficiency like a Doom or like a Black Widow Clairvoyant. If not, then use a champion that can use the passive stuns and kill him off like Colossus and Human Torch. Next one up is going to be a Carnage. Now here again, the best option is going to be a Mystic Champion, somebody with easy access to Nullify, Purify, Stagger. They will work here, but just as to show that you don't have to only bring in Mystic Champions, you can run this whole path with an Apocalypse as well easily. And if you throw in a Mutant boost of 200, he can get very quickly his power back and throw a lot more specials and make this fight way faster. If you bring in a full Trinity team for APOC, that will also work. That would be APOC with your cable and also stripe, so that should also work and you should be able to bring down the defenders very easily. And then you have a Captain Marvel movie version. Now I've used a Vax pre-fight here because I wanted to stun her, and I'm using a Doom, so the passive stun is helping me, and I'm trying to use a Mystic Champion that has damage over time because that gives extra damage to Captain Marvel. So make sure you have a Mystic Champion handy with you, and that Mystic Champion will give extra damage to Captain Marvel, and this fight will be a joke. If you try to take it with another one, with another different class champion, it might be a annoying fight. So keep a Mystic Champion in for this fight and should be able to clear it. Just like me, if you wanted to make it easier, you can just use a White Max pre-fight so your stuns can stick with the passive ones and you can easily finish off this fight. Now finally I have an Angela. Again, I've used a last White Max pre-fight and I'm gonna use a long shot. All I'm gonna do is slowly build up to an SP2 by the time she gets a lot of buffs on her, and just throw an SP2 and nullify everything and give her incinerate damage. If she has no buffs, she cannot avoid the damage, so same way, just two SP2s and one SP1 takes her out. Both of her specials are easily evadable, so you don't have to worry about that. Long shot also makes a joke of this part, so if you have him, he's a really good champion. Morningstar is another one. Morningstar is great for the Grandmaster as well, so again, choose your team as it is, so you can go take the Grandmaster fight as well with them. I am going to use a Doom because he's rank 4. I want to finish off the fight fast and make the video shorter, but you can use literally any rank champion and do the fight. And I'm gonna switch to Professor X from the before the Grandmaster, where they give us the option to switch one champion from the portal. So I'm gonna use Doom and also Professor X to go ahead against the Grandmaster. Now before we jump into the actual fight, let's have a quick summary of what Grandmaster mechanics are and how you work through them. Now, throughout the fight, the Grandmaster will give you tokens. They can be either tokens of competence or tokens of blunder. The icons are right there on the top left of your screen. If you do a successful challenge, or in phase 1, if you do a successful intercept, you get tokens of competence. If you are not successful with a challenge, you get a token of blunder. Now if you get 5 tokens of blunder, you give an SP3 to Grandmaster and he kills you instantly with an SP3 right away because it gives him 3 bars of power. Now, if you do get your token competence and you complete the challenges, you put him into a wounded state, and during the wounded state, your damage increased by 150% per token of competence you have. So that's something that you need to keep in mind. Now, within different phases 1, 2, 3, and 4, there are different challenges that he will give you that you will have to. They are sort of mini games and puzzles that you have to complete to get those token of competence. For example, in phase 1, you cannot do a parry, a light attack, and dexterity when he bans it. I will explain that later in during the video. If you do that again, you get a token of blunder on yourself. But if you do intercepts, you get tokens of competence. Now, once he bans all of those 3 actions, he gets an SP1, and you can dex the XP1, and then there's a small XP1 puzzle that comes up. It gives you 3 icons underneath the head, underneath the Grandmaster's health bar. Then you have to complete that puzzle. You get 1 competence per puzzle completed. Once you have that, he goes into a wounded state, and then you can hit him and bring him down to 80%. Same goes with phase 2 and phase 3. There are different challenges. For phase 2, it's whiff an attack, land a critical, intercept GM, gain a buff, and inflict a damage over time. For phase 3 is going to be strike and block, backdash, stand still, perform a parry, and knock Grandmaster down. And for the final phase is a totally different one. You just have to stay away until his infuriated phase is finished, and then you can knock him out with an SP3 that you get instantly once you survive the infuriated phase. So that's all about the Grandmaster. One thing is the SP1 puzzle. With the SP1, whenever he will throw it throughout the fight, he is going to throw a beam that you dex, and then he throws 3 projectiles at you. The 3 projectiles, you have to either dex them, block them, or you have to get hit by one of them, depending on what puzzle shows on the lower part of the health bar of Grandmaster. Just like that in your screen right now: dex, get hit, and block. I hope that is clear, guys. So let's jump into the fight, and I'll explain you the fight individually by different phases. Again, remember, you can do this fight with any champion, but the best champions I've just mentioned on top of your screen for phase 1 and 2, mostly they are either sustainable heavy tanker champions, or they are champions that have easy access to criticals. They can be guaranteed crits as well, or somebody with a high crit rate. And for phase 3, you will need a reverse control immune, so when you make a plan, make sure that you add one of those champions in your team. For phase 1, the sweet spot is going to be 15 to 18 tokens of competence before you go for the action bans from the Grandmaster. Parry, dexterity, and light attacks are banned by the Grandmaster if you use them 2 to 3 times within the same phase. You can refer to the icons on the right side of the screen. You will notice them, they will appear underneath Grandmaster's health bar once they are banned. Once a certain action is banned, repeating it will give you tokens of blunder. If you get 5 tokens of blunder, Grandmaster gets 3 bars of power and knocks you out with an SP3. Although if all the 3 actions are banned, Grandmaster gets an SP1. After you dex the SP1, he is wounded and open to damage. The goal here in this phase is to get 12 to 15 tokens of competence with intercepts and push Grandmaster to wounded with SP1 dex, and at which point you can hit him and bring him down to 80% health, moving into phase 2. There is a small defensive preparation phase by the Grandmaster before he enters phase 2. After which he gets infuriated for a little cooldown, and then he presents you with different puzzles or challenges periodically throughout phase 2. For every challenge you complete, you gain 1 token of competence, and the Grandmaster can give you 5 different challenges. One of them is whiff an attack, second one is land a critical, or perform an intercept, or gain a buff, or the final one might be inflict a damage over time effect. These challenges are prompted randomly, and after you complete 5 challenges, Grandmaster is wounded. One thing to note though is that both champions gain power during this phase, but the attacker is power limited at SP1 only. Grandmaster is going to be stun immune for phase 2 till the end of the fight. So at any point if you get hit by a heavy attack, all of your token of competence are removed and you have to build them up again. Now the goal here is to push the Grandmaster to as many SP1s so you can accumulate more tokens of competence before Grandmaster goes into a wounded state and is open to damage. As you know, for every token of competence you have, your damage is increased by 150%. So the more tokens of competence you have, the higher your damage during the wounded state and you can finish the fight faster. Having said that, you will have to go through the cycle 2 or 3 times for this rotation of completing 5 challenges and wounding the Grandmaster, so you can damage him into a phase 3 at 29% health. Now this is going to be the longest phase because this has the largest chunk of health for Grandmaster, so it's okay, don't be worried if you have to do the cycle 2 or 3 times. Now some of the best champions for phase 1 and phase 2 are going to be your high crit rate champions like Aegon, Elsa Bloodstone, Kitty Pryde, or Doom with Diablo synergy can also work, that is the one I am using here. Or you can go with the tanky sustainable route champions like Morningstar with 5 charges, Colossus, Captain America Infinity War, all of these will work. And finally, critical champs, the guaranteed critical champs can also work like Shang-Chi, Chorus Glaive, and Hitmonkey. So that is all for your phase 2. We get into phase 3 when we are at 29% health. The biggest pain point for everyone is how to dex his SP1. I usually keep an eye on Grandmaster's hand. He pulls them back before he throws the beam in his animation. As soon as he pulls his hands back, I will know that he's going to throw an SP1, and at which point I will dex back, and that usually helps me clear his SP1 easily. Now after he throws a beam, you will see 3 different prompts under his health bar. They can be same, they can be different. You will need to follow for the 3 projectiles he will send your way. For every correct prompt in the SP1 puzzle, you will get a token of competence. So the 3 that he can give will be either take a hit, or dex a projectile, or block the projectile. So you have to keep an eye on that. And the current rule set on Grandmaster is opportunistic, in which it decreases the length of the wounded state by 30% and infuriated state by 50%. So this is going to be the longest phase for Grandmaster, and this is designed to get you used to the SP1 animations and the concept of having different challenges and completing them for tokens, because phase 3 gets more complicated with reverse controls and all the other power gain stuff there. So we will discuss that in more detail, and phase 4 is just there to kill him off. So this is the phase where you get more accustomed to the mechanics of Grandmaster that you can bring into phase 3 and phase 4 as well. Once you enter phase 3, Grandmaster will again go defensive for preparation. Use this time to take him to a corner, and after preparation phase ends, Grandmaster will become infuriated for a little cooldown and will be very aggressive. Same as phase 2, you will be given 5 different challenges randomly and periodically during phase 3. You will be challenged to either strike in Grandmaster's block 5 times, backdash 5 times, or stand still, perform a parry, or knock the Grandmaster down. Remember that the Grandmaster is stun immune, so the reparry technique will help you complete the perform a parry challenge more efficiently. Now during this phase, Grandmaster will continuously gain power like a flood, just as Doctor Strange or Sorcerer Supreme, so be always careful and always try to dex his SP1 out. Also, just like phase 2, the goal is to accumulate as many tokens of competence as possible before the wounded state, and that is achieved every 5 challenges you complete given by the Grandmaster. If you fail a prompt in an SP1 or unable to complete a challenge, you get a token of blunder, and remember 5 tokens of blunder gives Grandmaster SP3 and he knocks you out. By having said all of that, the biggest hurdle in this phase is that your controls are reversed every 25 seconds for 10 seconds. You will have to swipe forward to dash back and swipe back to dash forward. But as the game has progressed, there are quite a few reverse control immune champions now, so I would highly suggest you bring one or a group of champions depending if you need the synergies. Now, if you're looking for solo champions, Professor X, Mr. Sinister, and Wiccan are champions that are reverse control on their own. But there are a few other champions that can work with synergies. So like Kitty Pryde with Emma Frost synergy becomes immune to reverse controls. Same with Mysterio with Emma Frost synergy. And also Emma Frost herself with Mysterio synergy becomes immune to reverse controls. And one very recent one is Overseer with his synergy called Identity Disorder. If you bring in one of the Hulks with him, they also become immune to reverse controls. So since the nerf on X6, there is also a portal before you go into the Grandmaster fight where you can change your champions. So plan in a way for every part that you can bring in one of these champions or one of these champion synergies so you can easily get this phase 3 done without having to invest so much of pods or potions. If you have a reverse control immune champion, that will work really well. Now you might have to do this, you might have to push the Grandmaster to a wounded state 2 or 3 times to bring him down to 1% because it will take a little while before you do. And once you bring him down to 1%, at that point he is pushed to phase 4, that is called Checkmate at 1% HP. Use the preparation phase to push him to a corner, as the Grandmaster will be infuriated for 18 seconds with unstoppable and unblockable. You will have to play keep away until his infuriated phase runs out of cooldown, after which the Grandmaster will be wounded and the attacker will be given an SP3 to knock the Grandmaster out. Remember, as we did the easy path, the infuriated state will be reduced to 9 seconds due to opportunistic rule set. You can also remove the unstoppable from the Grandmaster for 2.5 seconds by intercepts. The best rotation for that is intercept, 3 hits, dash back and intercept again. And that wraps up our guide for the Grandmaster and the easy path for 6.4.6 in 2022. This was just a revisit, so if you enjoyed the video and you find it helpful, and if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below, and hit that like button and subscribe button. That would really help me out. And apart from that, I will see you on the next one. Bye.